If you saw my last video on the history of Survivor intros, then you'd know that I absolutely love the opening credits of Survivor. I think they perfectly capture the spirit of the show and are able to make even the most mediocre or just plain bad episodes feel grand. But which season's intros are the best? Of course, it's subjective, but a good intro, to me, includes an awesome theme song arrangement that gets you pumped for what's to come, well-captured shots of the players that make them look cool, and stylish editing and cinematography. In the 25 years that the show has been on the air, I don't believe any of the intros have been bad. There are just some that stick out a bit more to me. Before we get started, a few disclaimers. 1. I'm only considering the full intros, i.e. the ones that include all of the contestants. A number of seasons have multiple variations of the intro, as more and more contestants are eliminated, but I won't be counting those. 2. Official intros only. I'm only going to allow intros that were officially commissioned for the show itself, meaning they either made it into the season itself, or they were available on CBS's website. This means no fan-made intros, though there are some pretty good ones out there. I particularly like these intros for seasons 42 through 44, created by AMB 97 Survivor. This also means that, unfortunately, the version of Nicaragua's intro, with Russ Landau's original intended theme, will also not be included. And finally, 3. This is just my opinion, it's okay if you disagree. Also, my feelings on an intro don't necessarily conform to my feelings on the season itself. Bad seasons have had good intros, and good seasons have had not as good intros. With all that out of the way, let's begin the countdown. At number 10, I have the OG intro, Season 1, Borneo. It is incredibly basic, but this is the one that started it all. I believe this intro, in part, helped Survivor become what it is today. I'm willing to bet that seeing this intro explode onto their TV screens in the first episode is what hooked so many viewers immediately to the show and helped launch an empire that is still standing to this day. As I said, the actual intro itself is very basic. The shots aren't very dynamic, but they get the job done. Though I always thought Greg's was a little weird, but I guess it does sort of fit his personality. Though I actually really like the pan to Sean's photo. Also, Kelly on the tree is very iconic to me for some reason. All in all, for the historical value, plus the nostalgia I have for the season itself, Borneo's intro is my 10th favorite. Also, that shot of the person in the mud at the end is so bizarre yet strangely fitting. At number 9, I'm placing our first all-returnee season on the list. Season 31, Cambodia. Firstly, I love the golden hue that permeates across many parts of the sequence. It just has a nice shine to it that always sticks out to me. Also, as you'll see with other placements on this list, I'm partial to the intros for All-Star seasons. It may not be entirely fair to rate them next to the non-returnee seasons, but hey, it's my list. The intro also does a great job of making Cambodia look absolutely beautiful. My favorite castaway shots are easily Spencer and Keith in the water carrying torches. All in all, it's just a really aesthetically pleasing intro that I like watching every time. Number 8 belongs to the legendary Pearl Islands. Once that cannon goes off at the start, you know you're about to witness one of the greats. Pearl Islands exudes the pirate motif in every aspect, and it goes a long way to make it one of the most memorable seasons with one of the most memorable intros. I thought about putting it higher, but even though I love it, there are some I like even more. Though, if this one is your favorite, I can't argue with that. I swear this wasn't intentional, but at number several we have the most recent season as of this video, Survivor 46. The new era intros have been incredible so far. They've really gotten a lot more ambitious and creative as far as the editing and cinematography of the intros as of late, and 46's intro is proof of that. Most of the castaway shots are awesome, some of my favorites being Ben holding up the puzzle blocks, Jem's victory pose, and Hunter carrying the large puzzle piece. Though, Soda's open mouth with her tongue hanging out is a little strange. Like, seriously, is that the best footage you had of her? But my favorite part is the torch snuff at the end that seamlessly fades into the logo. Oh, it's so good. Though it wasn't quite as impactful to me as its predecessor, which you may or may not see later in this list. I don't know how popular of a pick this will be, but number 6 is going to Season 10, Palau. I love this one. Palau has a military theme that extends to the intro, beginning with some soldier/warrior calls and introducing a marching drum that persists across the entire sequence. This intro just gets me pumped every time it plays. Add on some spectacular shots of underwater life and shipwrecks, and you definitely have a keeper. I'm also partially biased towards this one, as Palau was the first season I watched in its entirety live, but even disregarding that, I still think this intro is incredible. If you haven't watched it in a while, I definitely suggest giving it another shot. Beginning the top 5, we have the king of the meme seasons, the incomparable Survivor Gabon. The first HD season absolutely did not disappoint in the visual department, as I still think, to this day, it's one of the best looking seasons. They really pulled out all the stops for this one, and that polish definitely extends to the intro. The sweeping landscapes and exotic wildlife are breathtaking. I also love the nighttime shots at the end with the fire dancer. Though the season itself may be divisive, I think anyone would be able to appreciate this season's intro as an all-time beaut. Forgive my recency bias, but at 4th place, I'm putting Survivor 45. Absence truly makes the heart grow fonder, and I was seriously missing the opening credits at this point in the new era, as I'm sure a lot of you were. So when I saw that Fijian native jump out with the spear and heard Ancient Voices start up, I about lost my goddamn mind. I mentioned this in the history video, but I absolutely love the digs at Brandon and Hannah. But I didn't even mention that slow-mo shot of Caleb hoisting someone, I think Emily, I can't quite tell, on his shoulder, the minnows jumping out of the water, and that freaking cut from Dee jumping off the boat to going down the cliff is mwah. The only thing I don't like about this one is that it ends a little abruptly, but that's a nitpick. The intro came back with a vengeance with 45 and 46. So here's hoping 47 continues with this level of quality. Sorry for being predictable, but the top 3 all belong to All-Star seasons. But what can I say, they always produce spectacular intros. Today, the bronze medal goes to Winners at War. This was the first season to really, in my opinion, begin to push the envelope in terms of the editing and structure of the intro. Every shot and contestant placement feels purposeful. That transition from Amber to Rob is just perfect. This incredible showcase is precisely what the big 20th anniversary Survivor Super Bowl needed. The only thing that could have made it better is if it was actually included in the season itself, even if only for the finale, instead of only being viewable online. But regardless, this intro is amazing, and feels like a true celebration of this milestone, and a nice closer for the old era of the show. For 2nd place, we're jumping from the most recent All-Star season to the original. This season's arrangement of Ancient Voices combines elements from all 7 of the previous seasons, and it truly feels like the culmination of everything that came before. It gave the viewers at home the impression that this season would be the best one ever. Whether it actually lived up to that promise is up to you. But regardless of my feelings on the actual season itself, I adore this intro. Featuring so many iconic players of the classic era and Jenna Lewis, this intro blows my socks off every time. I especially love the fade-in effect with some of the cast photos. Though I love this intro to death, there's one that just barely surpasses it to me. Before we get to number 1, I have a few honorable mentions. The Australian Outback. The intro itself is pretty basic, though I have a ton of nostalgia for it, as I watched this season a lot on DVD growing up. I mainly like the Thailand. The arrangement is lovely, and the cinematography is beautiful. But, I mean, this cast, man, that's mainly what's keeping me from liking it more. Vanuatu. The cliff diver and the volcano erupting are incredible, but the rest of the intro is just okay, to me. Exile Island. I like the creepy vibe that they went with for this one, with all the skulls and shrunken heads and stuff, though there are a number of intros I like more. China was so close to making it onto the actual list. You can think of it as number 11. I love this one, but it just barely missed out. Tocantins has many of the same strengths as Gabon, but Gabon just left more of an impact on me personally, so that's why I chose it over this one. Philippines and Cagayan have incredible colors, and the shots are good for the most part. They just didn't quite leave as big of a mark on me as some others. Game Changers was another pretty close call, as there's a lot to like about it. Ty falling off the boat with the crate is one of my all-time favorite Castaway shots. But the other All Returnee Seasons intros just do more for me. Finally, David vs. Goliath was one I mostly forgot about, until I rewatched all of the intros for this video. But I was pleasantly surprised by it. Maybe over time this one will rise up, but for now it stays here in the honorable mentions. And now, for number 1.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, we're not doing that. It's Heroes vs. Villains. I think a lot of you saw this coming, but I couldn't help it. Not only is this the best season in my opinion, but it is also the best intro. What can I say about this one? First off, this might be my absolute favorite version of Ancient Voices that Russ Landau ever created. It has a really cinematic sound to it, which extends to the rest of the intro. I really love the color palette. It gives the season sort of a gritty action movie feel, which I think perfectly fits the Heroes vs. Villains theme. And I mean, come on. With how stacked this cast is, the intro had to be good. Just having so many of my favorite players in one place, combined with that awesome arrangement, sends shivers down my spine every time. I particularly like Russell, JT, Coach, Colby, and Rupert's shots, though all of them are good. It may be cliche, but I don't care. Heroes vs. Villains is 100% my favorite Survivor intro. Thank you for joining me on this crazy ride today. I hope you enjoyed my list and that you look forward to more rankings and top 10s in the future. Let me know if you agree with my choices and which intros you like the best and why. Thanks for watching.